My next problem with Pixar movies is the fact that they're money whores. No, I'm serious. Money whores. Why? All those gosh dang frickin' sequels. My god, I've never seen any animation studio abuse sequels quite like Pixar does.
Bullshit!
Why do I hate Pixar making sequels so much? It stops them from telling different stories with different characters. With sequels, they just use the same characters from prequels and tell a semi-different story.
Ben, just out of curiosity, you do know that prequels and sequels are completely different from each other, right?
However, the worst part is most of these sequels are pointless! Do I even need to mention Cars 2? Okay, that'd be like picking on a mentally challenged person, but I can talk about sequels they shouldn't have made. For example, Finding Dory.
Even though you're showing a Finding Nemo poster for some reason. And also, when did they start making VHS tapes again? I thought people got rid of their VHS players a long-ass time ago.
I'm sorry. It's gonna be the exact same movie as Finding Nemo.
Yeah, it's gonna be the exact same story, even though I have absolutely no credible sources or any proof to back up my claim. Evidence? What's that?
Sure, you could say, but they're Finding Dory this time. It's the same movie.
Well, Ben, or Montana Max from Tiny Toons, here's the thing. With the exception of Cars 2, Pixar for the most part is a very picky company when it comes to sequelizing certain films. And when Pixar does decide to make a sequel, they tend to focus more on the story since their philosophy is, sequels should only be made if you can come up with a story that's as good as the original. Or in other words, story comes first. And give Pixar some credit, at least they don't endlessly drag the sequels out by making them more and more embarrassing to the point where they become straight-to-video failures. And as for Finding Dory, I think it's pretty interesting to see a film that's based around this character. But seeing as how that movie isn't going to be released until my junior year of high school, Pixar has a lot of time to work on this movie and make it as great as they possibly can. Speaking of interesting ideas, Pixar is going to be releasing a film on June 19th, 2015 called Inside Out. What this film is about is you go inside this mind of a little girl, and her emotions are the characters, and they show how they control things that go on inside her mind. Yeah, I know another film called The Cell had a similar premise, but when you really look at it, it doesn't do a very good job of actually going into the mind and studying this person, or serial killer to be exact, and his motives, who he is, and why he chose this life of crime per se. So, I'm hoping that Inside Out can do a much better job with the going into the mind premise. And also, for those of you who are wondering why I didn't make a full-length commentary on this video, here's my explanation and a step-by-step guide on how to make your own Benthelooney rant. First, pick a topic that's related to a form of media. Next, conduct little to no research on it and instead rely on your prior knowledge that you may or may not have enough of to make your arguments valid, logical, and unbiased. Then, bitch about it for 18.5 minutes while bringing up the same arguments over and over and over again without going into much detail about why these flaws are significant to the topic at hand. When that's finished, edit out any unnecessary pauses and stutters with your movie editing software and then render the video afterwards. Finally, upload your video on YouTube and then proceed to congratulate yourself.